Chapter 2: A Messenger in the Ashes. Marcus had the kind of presence that demanded attention. He was tall and lean, his movements fluid and precise, like a predator stalking its prey. His hair was a dark auburn, cropped short to keep out of his sharp amber eyes. He wore a patchwork of leather and cloth, practical and efficient, with a quiver of bolts strapped to his back and a high-end makeshift crossbow slung over his shoulder. The weapon looked both ancient and modern, crafted from scavenged materials but deadly efficient. As he stepped into my home, I noticed the way he scanned the room, his gaze lingering on points of entry and possible threats. He was a tracker, no doubt about it, an expert navigator in this labyrinth of ruins. I could see the calluses on his hands, the mark of someone who spent more time in the wild than in the relative safety of a settlement. "Nice place," Marcus said, his voice low and calm. "Reminds me of my own back home." "And where's home?" I asked, wary but curious. "Raven's Hollow," he replied, the name sending a shiver down my spine. Raven's Hollow was one of the larger settlements, known for its harsh but fair leadership. They were well-organized and well-armed, a force to be reckoned with in the wastes. "What does Raven's Hollow want with me?" I asked, keeping my tone neutral. I had learned long ago not to show my hand too soon. "The mayor, Madeline, she has a job for you," Marcus said, leaning against the wall. "She heard about your skills, said you're one of the best scavengers around. She needs someone like you." I raised an eyebrow, intrigued despite myself. "And what makes you think I'll just up and leave my home to work for your mayor?" Marcus smiled, a hint of amusement in his eyes. "Because it's not just a job, Trevor. It's an opportunity. Madeline has access to resources, things you can't even imagine. She can offer you more than just survival." I studied him, my mind racing. There was more to this than he was letting on, but I couldn't deny the allure of what he was offering. "And you? What's your part in all this?" "I'm a tracker," Marcus said simply. "An expert navigator. I make sure people get where they need to go and back again, in one piece. And I'm here to make sure you get to Raven's Hollow safely." I glanced at his crossbow, its sleek lines and well-maintained mechanism. "Nice weapon. You make that yourself?" He nodded, a trace of pride in his eyes. "Guns are rare, and ammunition even more so. A good crossbow can be just as effective if you know how to use it." "And you do?" He met my gaze steadily. "I do." Nimbus, ever the silent observer, jumped down from her perch and padded over to Marcus, sniffing at his boots. He reached down to scratch her behind the ears, earning a purr of approval. That was a good sign. Nimbus was a better judge of character than most humans. I weighed my options, my mind a whirl of possibilities and dangers. "What's the job?" I asked finally, my curiosity getting the better of me. Marcus straightened, his expression turning serious. "Madeline didn't give me all the details, just that it's important, and she needs someone with your skills. She said to tell you it's a matter of life and death, for more than just our settlement." That piqued my interest even more. In a world where every day was a struggle for survival, anything that affected more than one settlement was worth investigating. But I wasn't about to jump into this blind. "I don't trust easily," I said, meeting his eyes. "Especially not strangers with vague messages. Why should I believe you?" Marcus sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Because I'm not just here to deliver a message. I'm here because we need you. Raven's Hollow is strong, but we can't do this alone. And if we fail, it won't just be us who suffer. You've seen the wastes, Trevor. You know how fragile our existence is. This isn't just about one job, it's about the future." His words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken meaning. I could see the truth in his eyes, the desperation. But there was also determination, a fierce resolve that mirrored my own. "All right," I said slowly, "I'll go with you. But if this turns out to be a trap, or if you're lying to me, you won't live to regret it." Marcus nodded, accepting my terms without flinching. "Fair enough. We leave at first light. It's a long journey, and the wastes aren't getting any safer." I watched him for a moment longer, then turned to start packing my gear. Nimbus jumped onto a chair, watching with curiosity as I gathered my essentials, tools, weapons, and a few personal items. It wasn't much, but it was everything I needed to survive. As I packed, Marcus moved to the door, keeping watch. His presence was reassuring, a reminder that I wasn't alone in this. For better or worse, we were in this together. When I finished, I turned to find Marcus watching me with an unreadable expression. "Get some rest," he said. "We've got a long day ahead of us." I nodded, feeling the weight of his words. This was the beginning of something new, something dangerous. But it was also a chance for something better, a chance to make a difference. As I lay down, Nimbus curled up beside me. I couldn't shake the feeling that my life was about to change in ways I couldn't even imagine. The journey ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, I felt a spark of hope. To be continued.